ఇంటర్మీడియట్ విద్యారంగంలో అగ్రగామి మన ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్. ఐఐటి జేఈఈ అయినా నీట్ అయినా తిరుగులేని విద్యా సంస్థ ఎన్ఎస్ఆర్ ఇంపల్స్.
So where are we? We are in the discussion about phloem transport. What we have understood just now, upward movement, downward movement and lateral directional movement. Now as I told you, phloem transport can be studied with the help of, what was the theory? Bulk flow, or we call mass flow hypothesis. Mass flow hypothesis. So who is a scientist who has given bulk flow or mass flow hypothesis? Is nothing but Ernest Munch. Who is the scientist? Ernest Munch. But mainly phloem transport experimentally studied. Experimentally studied by, with the help of ringing or girdling experiment. Okay, but phloem transport was experimentally studied with ringing or girdling process, with ringing, or you can write girdling process. Then later we will come back to mass flow or bulk flow. First we have to study once again. Earlier I told you what is meant by ringing and girdling, but this is the time because phloem transport actually was studied with the help of ringing and girdling. Once again we have to discuss ringing or girdling. What is ringing or girdling? So here if you take ringing or girdling is exactly having the meaning that is nothing but process of removal of phloem. Process of removal of phloem. So when you take the process of removal of phloem here, now what do we say in this case? Let us take in the first plant. So let us take the first plant. So this is a plant number 1. Let us take, this is a root. This is what we call, let us say plant 1, or let us call plant A. And let us take the other one as plant B. So this is what is called as plant B. So here we can take, there are so this roots here, right. Now when you take, this is the root and this is the stem. Okay, and this is the root and we have what is called as, this is nothing but the stem. Now what we studied earlier here, so we take like a drilling machine type with this, just put the hole and circle they cutted around this up to where, so there is a removal of phloem. So you can write here phloem is removed. What we have to understand, phloem is removed, phloem is removed. Now in the second plant B, what is removed? It's slightly upper to this, what is removed is nothing but xylem. What is removed here is nothing but xylem, right. But in this xylem is removed, in this phloem is removed, but xylem is there. Oh, in this xylem is also removed, both, because what happens, first phloem is removed, yeah, xylem is present. What you can say here is xylem is present. Xylem is present. Why? When you take the dicot step, when you take the dicot step, you know the transverse section. When you take the TS of dicot stem, you know what is upper layer? Upper layer is nothing but epidermis. Epidermis contain cortex. Cortex contain what? Endodermis. Below the endodermis what you find? Pericycle. From here what starts is steel part. From here this is epidermis and this is cortex. From here what starts is nothing but steel part. You know steel part participates in secondary growth, we studied. Steel part participates in secondary growth. Yes or no? Now tell me the order from periphery to center, tell me the order after pericycle. From the pericycle what it starts is secondary steel part. Stele part undergoes and participates in secondary growth, because here we are discussing about a dicot stem. Tell me the anatomy, what is the order of sequence, from where, from periphery to center. Tell me what comes after pericycle. What comes after pericycle? Nothing but we find a primary phloem, right? Then after primary phloem, immediately we find what is called a secondary phloem. Yes, then who is there? Vascular cambium. Vascular cambium in the center. Then what you find? Then you find secondary xylem. Then primary xylem is pushed towards the center. So primary xylem. Of course, if you write, you have more. What is that? Protophlorium, metaphlorium. Right, primary, primary, then protophlorium, metaphlorium. Vascular cambium, metaxylem, protoxylem, then primary xylem, right? You remember? So sequence, this is nothing but what? What do you call this part? This is nothing but vascular bundle of dicot stem. What you call this is? This is called as what? A vascular bundle. Now when you see the primary phloem, secondary phloem, vascular cambium, now what has happened? This is nothing but round diameter. Now when a drilling machine is operated here to put the hole, up to phloem is removed, means up to here phloem is removed. But what are present? Vascular cambium is present, xylem is present, here xylem. So what are present here? In this case what is present? Xylem is present. Only what is removed is phloem. Are you getting me? What is removed here is phloem. What is present is xylem. Why? Drilling machine or like structure or the machine digged up to phloem and removed up to phloem. Down part xylem is present. That is what we can see in the first case. In plant A, phloem is removed, xylem is present. That means with the help of drilling machine, epidermis is removed, cortex is removed, endodermis, pericycle, up to phloem. Then what is there? Vascular cambium, secondary xylem, primary xylem are there. So if you come to the periphery to center, this is the order. Now in this case xylem is there. Coming to plant B, here in this case xylem is removed. Xylem is removed means what here? So when you cut in second case, epidermis will go, cortex will go, endodermis will go, pericycle, phloem, primary and secondary, vascular cambium including up to xylem is removed. So this is plant A, let us take this is plant A. What is removed here is up to phloem is removed. In plant B, I am writing here plant B, up to what is removed? Xylem is removed, up to xylem it is removed, up to xylem it is removed. So that is for plant B. Up to plant A phloem is removed, up to plant B xylem is removed. Up to plant A phloem, up to plant B xylem, right. Now see the condition. So plant B is not having phloem as well as xylem, right. So when girdling is nothing but removal of phloem, but girdling meaning we talk about only removal of phloem, not about xylem. Just for have the comparison, we took another plant where up to xylem is removed, right. Now what happens in this case here? Root is the one which supply water and minerals. Okay, so xylem is present, so water and minerals goes up. So here the food is trying to come down, but here phloem is cutted, it is completely cutted, P means phloem is cutted. So food cannot come down, food cannot be translocated downward. As a result what happens? Upper part becomes turgid, upper part of the shoot becomes turgid, upper part of the shoot system become turgid. Why? Because whatever the food is prepared by the leaf, it continuously supplies down, but there is no translocation of the food in downward direction. It is being obstructed as phloem is removed. So total food comes down, all the cells bulges, They swell in size because of more accumulation of food, as leaves are the source for preparation of food. Upper part of the shoot system becomes turgid. Okay, then because water and minerals are coming, filled with water, also filled with food. So upper part becomes turgid. Root is the one continuously taking water and minerals, well fine. Then the question is, which part of the plant dies first? If that is the question, make sure that which part will die? Upper part is turgid, fully swelled. Lower part of the stem, it has little food. With that, it will already little food exist, it will survive. Then who will die here? Because of the food coming downward direction got affected. Remember all of you, very it was a previous NEET question. So remember, root dies first. What happens in this case? So root dies first. Very important. In the first case, root dies first. The shoot system dies first. If you get the question, shoot system dies first or root system dies first, means root dies first, followed by lower part of the shoot, then followed by, after long duration of time, upper part of the shoot. So what do you have to remember? It's a previous NEET question. So make sure that you remember, very previous NEET question, root dies first. Coming to second case here. So in this case, both xylem is removed, means phloem is also removed. I say phloem is also removed because after removing phloem, xylem is removed. Then what happens in this case here? Now here xylem is stopped. Xylem is stopped. This is xylem. Xylem is stopped. That means water cannot come up. Similarly, phloem is stopped. Food cannot come down. Water cannot go up. Food cannot come down. And as a result, what happens here? All the leaves which are present here, so these leaves, they undergo transpiration. As there is a transpiration, here there is a loss of water. As totally leaves loses the water, whatever is present, everything is lost by transpiration. Then leaves will undergo the process called wilting. Leaves will undergo the process called as wilting. So leaves will undergo the process called as wilting. If all the leaves, they lose water. How long they survive with only food, without water? They will become wilted. Wilted means vadalipodam. They totally become dry and they get wilted. Right. Then what about the down part and the root part here? Here root has water. Root has water. Phloem got obstructed. No food is coming. Then here food is there but no water. So look at the scenario and situation, compare. Root has water but no food. Leaf has food but no water. Then which one will get affected in this case? Root will get affected or shoot will get affected? In this case, shoot system will get affected. Shoot system dies first. Why? Because shoot system is the one without water. Upper part, especially upper part of the shoot system dies first, because even though food is there, without water it cannot be translocated to all the parts. So here in this case, shoot system dies when compared with the root. Root survives for little longer with little food, whatever is already been available, but after that time even root also will get affected, root also will die. But in this case, first upper part of the shoot system will get affected. So look at the two scenarios. Ringing or girdling is nothing but process of removal of phloem. In the first case, what happens is root dies first. In the second case, what happens is shoot dies first. Remember the transverse section of the dicot stem, because after primary phloem, secondary phloem, then what you find is vascular cambium followed by secondary xylem and primary xylem. If you take it in the order of protoxylem and metaxylem, what comes here? First is primary phloem, then followed by protophlloem and metaphlloem. Vascular cambium, secondary xylem. Here what comes? Protoxylem and metaxylem, and then a primary xylem. At the base, what you find in this case? You find pith, or you find what is called medulla. You find pith or what is called medulla. Sometimes the question will be asked from the center to periphery. Then you have to take the order of going down to up. So this is what we call it as a bulk flow or mass flow hypothesis, right? So here ringing or girdling experiment, we have a previous NEET question. Guys, you remember in the first plant only phloem is removed, xylem is present. So which part dies first means root, very important. In the second case, xylem is removed means including phloem, xylem is removed. So here both food and water get affected. So upper part of the shoot system dies, then followed by the root system. Both scenarios are very important. We have the previous NEET question on what is called ringing or girdling experiment. Remember, this is very important. This was the proof or experimental proof for understanding and studying of what is called phloem transport. Right. Now let us continue with phloem transport. Later it was studied with the help of mass flow, but with that small experimentally they have done different experiments. Different scientists, they have done different experiments to see that how food translocation occurs within the phloem. So they have come to the conclusion that it is bidirectional and it is bulk flow. Let us study that. Next experiment. So we are still continuing with the same concept, that is phloem transport. What did I told you now? A different scientists, they have done different experiment. Now let us study about the experiment with what is called osmometer. They have done the experiment with what? Osmometer. So osmometer, what they have done is they took two what are called glass funnels. So here let us take, this is a glass funnel, this is interconnected with another glass funnel. Upper part I am drawing again, so you can just have a clear how the setup or experiment is being arranged here. So in this case I can take little down one, I can take. I am just drawing the diagram. Guys, all of you copied, you can copy down this. They have taken two glass funnels. The two glass funnels what you find here are interconnected. They are interconnected. So here I am drawing the glass funnel, a round glass funnel. Exactly here, exactly at the equal mode, you can draw another glass funnel. So here you can draw another glass funnel. Okay. So osmometer experiment, this is nothing but what we call is osmometer experiment. We call this is as osmometer experiment. Now when we take the osmometer experiment here, the two funnels are interconnected and they also connected with the beakers. They also connected with the beakers like this. So the beakers, the two beakers they took, the two beakers are also interconnected like this. Okay, I hope now you can understand. Let us take the two funnels. First funnel is interconnected with the second funnel and they took the two beakers. This is one beaker and this is another beaker. Beakers are also interconnected. Now let us look at the first beaker. Both beakers are filled with water. This is also filled with water, right, and this also filled with water. This also filled with water, right. Now when you take the things here, both are filled with water. Here also I am saying, here also it is filled with water. Right. Now do not take much of this water into the first beaker, take only equal quantity. Let us take equal quantity. because if equal quantity is not there, then it starts making imbalance, right. So here in both beakers what we find is it's filled with water, here also it's filled with water. So when funnels are interconnected, when beakers are interconnected, now it becomes a good set becomes to understand what is called osmometer. Why do you call osmometer? Here what occurs is called osmosis, definitely, no doubt. But where to where movement occurs, that with that we will study what is called phloem transport, right. Now let us take here inside this, let us take this is funnel A. So this is called funnel A, or with A beaker, let us call this as funnel B or B beaker. Now in this, the funnel A, this is A I am speaking about, funnel A let us take as leaf, leaf is nothing but let us take this as a source. In source what is the thing we are studying is nothing but phloem, okay. So this is nothing but source. Let us imagine funnel A as leaf or funnel A act as source. Why? Because let us take funnel A as phloem. Phloem is filled with what? Food material. So with what we are filling this? This is filled with, let us take this is funnel A, this is fully filled with sucrose solution. So here you find a sucrose solution. That's why we are taking this as phloem. Okay, let us take funnel A, it's fully filled with what? A sucrose solution. This is filled with sucrose solution. Now, what happens in this? Now, here where it is kept, this sucrose solution in the beaker containing water. Let us take this is beaker, in beaker what is present means water is present. Let us similarly come to this funnel B. Funnel B, let us take this as what you call, let us take funnel B, imagine yourself maybe as root. Root means here the food is coming down, so root act as a sink to receive the food, let us imagine, or it is the one where xylem is present. Because no sucrose solution much, only few water, more water and minerals, less is the food material. So you can imagine funnel B as root, or you can imagine this as sink, or you can imagine this as xylem, because xylem conducts water and minerals, right. Now what happened with this when two funnels are connected? Let us see now. Funnel filled with the sucrose solution now kept in the beaker. So the beaker is in which here solute concentration is very less. That means what happens? Where to where initially movement occurs? The movement of water occurs from the beaker into the funnel. The movement of water occurs from the beaker into the funnel. That means here initially let us talk about the movement, then later we will write hypotonic, because reversible process it is. So when you take here what we say initially, the first step, movement of water occurs from where to where? Occurs from where to where? Beaker to funnel. Beaker to funnel. So when water enters into funnel, what happens here? Sucrose dissolves into, as a result of this, sucrose dissolves into water. When sucrose starts dissolving in water, what happens here? The solution rises. There is an increase in solution. There is an increase in solution because this is mixed with water. This is mixed with water. Right. Then when water is trying to move, simultaneously, let us take this is a semi-permeable member, simultaneously sucrose also starts coming into out of the funnel with the inflow of water. Sucrose molecules added to the water, but very few sucrose molecules. So this creates a condition called as hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution. This becomes what? Hypotonic solution. Okay, why hypotonic? let us take funnel A is kept in hypotonic because very less concentration of solute and more of water. This creates a hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution, where it is present? It is present in the beaker. Now after some time what happens? Because of continuous amount of water, so increase in solution where? In funnel. This happens in funnel, and decrease in water in beaker, and there is a decrease in water content in the beaker. That means slowly the water which is present in the beaker, it is coming down. So the water which is present in the beaker, it coming down. So it decreases, slowly it decreases. There is a decrease in water in the beaker. Now as a result what happens? Here when it creates hypotonic, I will just continue writing down, you people continue writing down in your notebook. I am just going up. So I will just continue from here to here. The point what you need to write down, I will just continue here. Now what happens here? There is increase in turgor pressure. There is an increase in turgor pressure. Where there is an increase in turgor pressure? In funnel. Okay, so here what happens? Now when you see very clearly here, within the funnel what happens here is increase in turgor pressure. So here you can see there is increase in turgor pressure. TP means turgor pressure. So when turgor pressure increases, what happens? At a time the pressure can be applied in all directions, then the solution starts moving from where to where? Funnel B to funnel A. So the movement is happening from where to where? So in this direction the movement of solution is moving. Why do we write solution? This is called sucrose solution. Movement of sucrose solution is happening from where to where? From funnel B to funnel A. So here you can write movement is happening, movement of solution is happening from where to where? Movement of solution is happening from A to B, funnel A to funnel B. Are you all getting right? I hope you can understand, because why I am writing this part here, here also we need to write here. Okay, so what is happening here? So here hypotonic solution, down you continue writing, I am writing up here, there is an increase in pressure in the funnel, then movement of solution happens from where to where? Happens from A to B. So along with the solution here, sucrose molecules are moving along with the water, and they get added to what? Where? To the xylem, very few molecules. And more is what is coming here? More is nothing but water. Water is more, solute particles, sucrose is less. So when water is coming, sucrose solution is coming here, then what happens? Funnel B is filled with water. So what is happening here? Movement is from where to where? Movement of solution is happening from where to where? Movement of solution is happening from A to B. Then it creates, what happens here? There is an increase in solution. Increase in solution in funnel B. Funnel B. So here there is a solution increases. Where? Funnel B. When solution increases in funnel B, now it causes increase in pressure gradient. It causes what? Increase in pressure gradient. Why? The flow is happening in one direction. So continuously flow is happening in one direction, that creates a pressure. It's nothing but pressure potential. So here when you take the water potential, when you talk in terms of water potential also, so here you take what is happening actually here, you find higher water potential. Inside the beaker you find lower water potential. So movement happens from where to where? High water potential to low water potential. Right. So here when you talk about here, now when funnel is coming out here, along with the solution is coming out, so the sucrose molecules also added to the beaker. So the movement is happening from where to where? Funnel to beaker. Again followed by the movement happens from movement of solution from funnel to beaker. When funnel to beaker it is added, when funnel to beaker it is added, that means movement is from where to where? Funnel to beaker. Then what happens? Then there is an increase in solution in the beaker. So in the beaker the solution increases along with the few solute molecules. So here increase in solution in the beaker. First increase in solution in the funnel B causes increase in solution in the beaker. When there is an increase in solution in the beaker, what happens here? Now followed by, I write here increase in solution in beaker. Right. Then what happens here? From the beaker, pressure gradient is applied here. Pressure is applied. Then as both the beakers are interconnected, again solution starts moving from where to where? From beaker A, beaker B to beaker A. So slowly as the movement is interconnected, movement of solution is happening from where to where? It's happening from B to A. It's happening from B to A. That is here solution movement, or here we write movement of solution. It's happening from where to where? From beaker B to beaker A beaker. How long it happens? It happens until it reaches equilibrium. It happens until it reaches equilibrium. Okay. So this is what is a total experiment. What they studied, it's called as osmometer experiment. Now actually conclusion part I already have written before itself. They have just in the beginning you have to take it as funnel A and funnel B. But after you study the whole process, now you will get the conclusion. This you take it as a leaf. Leaf is nothing but the source of food. Food is nothing but, just imagine, this is a phloem. So what is happening from phloem to xylem? Now the same concept, don't look it in terms of funnel and beaker. Now you look it in terms of phloem and xylem. Or now you look at it in terms of, that is leaf, this is root. Now look at the concept again. So look at here all of you, this is a beaker, beaker contains water, funnel contains the sucrose solution. So within this you find high solute concentration or high solute concentration here. Here you find high solute concentration, here you find high water potential. So water enters from higher water potential to lower water potential. So the movement of water occurs from beaker to funnel. Yes or no? So what we are discussing here, mainly we are discussing how transport occurs in the phloem, and that too what we have to understand here is nothing but what? A bidirectional movement. What we have to see? A bidirectional movement. So through osmometer experiment, when people started studying about the phloem transport, they understood the bidirectional movement. So now again I begin. Let us take funnel A, this as leaf, also referred as source, also called as phloem. Let us imagine. Now leaf is nothing but mesophyll cell. It prepares food by photosynthesis. Inside you find high sucrose solution. Now what happens? The movement of water occurs from where to where? Beaker to funnel. It happens from beaker to funnel. So beaker to funnel, water is moving. Right, from where to where? Higher water potential to lower water potential. Then sucrose is the one, start dissolving into the water. It forms what is called sucrose solution. Then it creates a condition called as hypotonic solution. Why? When water is moving along with the water, as this is semi-permeable, in return some sucrose molecules are added to the water. Sucrose concentration is less, water is more, it creates a condition called hypotonic solution. Then because of continuous entry of water in all directions, this causes increase in turgor pressure. So there is an increase in Tp. Tp got increased. Within this Tp got increased. When turgor pressure or wall pressure is increased, then it starts movement of solution from funnel A to funnel B. So this is happening. The movement along with the solute molecules, water is moving along with the solute molecules added to the funnel B. Okay, so when it is added to the funnel B here, now what happens in this case here? When it is added, solute molecules are few, water is more. Again here also it creates what? Hypotonic condition. But imagine this as the root, or imagine this as receiving the food. Let us take it as sink. That is source, this is sink. Okay, this is leaf and this is root, or imagine this as a source, imagine this as a sink, or this, let us take this is phloem, or this one will be xylem. In xylem, and from the phloem what is coming? Few molecules. Let us think this is nothing but xylem. So imagine this is nothing but what? Phloem. From the phloem some amount of food is coming along with water to xylem. Okay, xylem not only carry water and minerals, it also carries few food materials, because there is an exchange of material between xylem and phloem. From the phloem food is coming. So it is coming, movement of solution from A to B. Now solution increases in the funnel B. Then there is an increase in pressure gradient. It creates a pressure, increase in pressure gradient, and that makes the movement of solution from funnel to beaker. From the funnel to the beaker, the solution is added. So there is an increase in solution in the beaker. First increase in solution in funnel beaker, followed by increase in solution in the beaker. Then there is a beaker increase in solution. And beakers are also interconnected. From the B, again the solution, it is moving. From the B, again the solution, it is moving to A. Okay, so now let us keep this as the total thing. If you take movement of solution from beaker to A, how long it happens mean? It happens until it reaches what is called equilibrium. Now just imagine this is phloem and this is xylem. So phloem not only conducts food materials, also conducts water. So phloem supplies some amount of food to xylem. Xylem not only carries water and minerals. So what you find here? Definitely water and minerals. So what you say here? Xylem not only carry water and minerals, but along with that few minerals, few food materials, or few sucrose molecules, sucrose materials, right? And here what do we say? Phloem not only carries sucrose here, along with that few water and minerals. Here you can see few water as well as minerals, few water and minerals. Okay, so why it is happening? Xylem not only carries water and minerals, few food materials, sucrose. Phloem not only carries sucrose, few water and minerals. Why this is happening? Because there is a continuous exchange of materials from phloem to xylem, again back from xylem to phloem. Or we say source. Source is nothing but phloem. From the source the food materials are coming to sink. From the sink going back to source. Or you can take leaf is giving food. Leaf is not only carrying the food and water. Leaf is giving food to what you call root. What root will give? Root will give water and minerals to the leaf. That means what is happening here? This is one directional movement. Where to where? Leaf to root. This is one directional movement. What is the second directional movement? This is one directional movement. What is the second directional movement? Where to where? Again from root to leaf. So this is second direction. This is second direction. That means food is bidirectional. This is one direction. This is another direction. food is movement is happening bidirectional. What is the conclusion? There is an exchange of exchange of materials along with food and water happens between xylem and phloem. That's why phloem transport is called as a bidirectional movement. Experimentally studied with the help of osmometer by the Ernest Munch. Ernest Munch also given another theory that is called mass flow and bulk flow. The same concept what you have understood here, we have to apply for the plant. Same concept we have to apply for the plant. When you apply for the plant, in the plant it is called bulk flow or mass flow.